Is your daily nap destroying your brain after 60? Here is what Harvard and UCSF actually found. If you are over 60 and you take a daily nap, and nearly 60% of older adults do, what I am about to share will make you look at your afternoon nap very differently. Because researchers at Harvard Medical School and the University of California, San Francisco have identified something that most people who nap every day have no idea about. And it has nothing to do with how long you sleep at night. Stay with me for the next 12 minutes. Because the difference between a nap that protects your brain and one that signals something is wrong is something every person over 60 needs to understand. Welcome to Thrive After 60, where every week we bring you science-backed strategies for living stronger, sharper, and healthier in your 60s, 70s, and beyond. Please subscribe if you have not already. And before we begin, this video is for educational purposes only and is not a substitute for personalized medical advice. Always speak with your doctor about your individual situation. In 2022, researchers at UC San Francisco and Harvard Medical School, together with Brigham and Women's Hospital, published a landmark study in Alzheimer's and dementia. They followed over 1,400 older adults for 14 years, tracking both their napping patterns and their cognitive health every single year. What they found was extraordinary and deeply counterintuitive. Participants who napped more than an hour a day had a 40% higher risk of developing Alzheimer's than those who napped less than an hour a day. And participants who napped at least once a day had a 40% higher risk of developing Alzheimer's than those who napped less than once a day. 40% from napping. But here is what makes this finding truly alarming. The researchers specifically looked at whether this association was simply because people who nap more also sleep worse at night, a reasonable assumption. They adjusted for nighttime sleep quantity and quality. The association between excessive daytime napping and dementia remained after adjusting for nighttime quantity and quality of sleep, suggesting that the role of daytime napping is important itself and is independent of nighttime sleep. In other words, it is not about your nighttime sleep. Excessive daytime napping is independently connected to dementia risk, regardless of how well you sleep at night. That is what makes this study so significant. Now, here is the part of this research that most people never hear about, because it reveals a deeply unsettling feedback loop. The study found that the relationship between napping and dementia appears to go in both directions. Excessive napping increases the risk of developing dementia. But dementia, even in its earliest preclinical stages, before any symptoms are obvious, also causes people to nap more. The researchers at UCSF found that people with Alzheimer's disease have fewer wake-promoting neurons in 3 key brain regions. These are the neurons responsible for keeping you alert and awake during the day. As Alzheimer's pathology develops, sometimes years or even decades before a diagnosis, these neurons are gradually lost. And as they are lost, the brain's ability to sustain wakefulness during the day decreases. Napping increases. This means that a sudden or gradual increase in daytime napping after 60, especially napping that feels uncontrollable or excessive, may not just be a sign of tiredness. It may be one of the earliest observable signs that something is changing in the brain. The researchers noted that an increase in napping may reflect the effect of Alzheimer's disease pathology at preclinical stages, years before any memory symptoms become obvious. This is why the Harvard and UCSF team said their hope is to draw more attention to daytime sleep patterns, because changes in napping behavior over time may be one of the most accessible and observable early warning signals available to older adults and their families. Now, I want to be completely honest with you, because the science on this topic is nuanced, and I believe you deserve the full picture rather than a simplified version. A large study from the Million Women Study, which followed over 830,000 women for 17 years, found less consistent evidence that regular napping increases long-term dementia risk. And a study from Johns Hopkins Medicine found that napping for 30 to 90 minutes was actually associated with better memory recall and cognitive performance in adults over 65. So what does this suggest? It means that napping itself is not the problem. It is the pattern of napping, specifically the duration, the frequency, and critically, whether your napping patterns are changing over time. People who napped for 30 to 90 minutes had better word recall, a sign of good memory, than people who did not nap or who napped for longer than 90 minutes. There is a sweet spot, and understanding it is the most important takeaway from this entire video. Based on the combined research from Harvard, UCSF, Johns Hopkins, and the American Academy of Sleep Medicine, here are the evidence-based napping guidelines for adults over 60. Rule 1. Keep your nap to 20 to 30 minutes maximum. The American Academy of Sleep Medicine recommends short power naps of 20 to 30 minutes for older adults. This range helps restore alertness without causing grogginess and without entering the deeper sleep stages that disrupt nighttime sleep. A 20 to 30-minute nap keeps you in the lightest stage of sleep, the stage that restores alertness and mood without creating the groggy disorientation that comes from waking mid-cycle. Set an alarm every time. Do not let yourself drift into a longer sleep. Rule 2. Time your nap between 1 p.m. and 3 p.m. Napping later than 3 p.m. disrupts your body's circadian rhythm and reduces the quality of your nighttime sleep. Your brain does its most important repair work, including clearing the toxic amyloid proteins linked to Alzheimer's during deep nighttime sleep. Protect that window by keeping daytime naps early and brief. Rule 3. Watch for changes in your napping patterns over time. This is the most important rule. A single long nap is not an alarm bell, but a gradual or sudden increase in how often you nap, how long you nap, or how difficult it is to stay awake during the day, especially if this represents a change from your normal pattern, is something to discuss with your doctor. Not because it definitely means something is wrong, but because it is exactly the kind of observable change that the Harvard and UCSF researchers identified as a potential early signal. During deep nighttime sleep, your brain activates what scientists call the glymphatic system, a waste clearance network that flushes toxic proteins, including amyloid beta and tau, out of brain tissue. This process is most active during deep, slow-wave sleep, the kind that predominantly occurs in the early hours of the night. Daytime naps do not replicate this process. They are too short and too light to activate the deep glymphatic clearance that the brain needs. This is why protecting nighttime sleep is non-negotiable after 60, and why using daytime naps to compensate for poor nighttime sleep, rather than addressing the root cause of that poor sleep, may be creating exactly the conditions that accelerate cognitive aging. If you are napping during the day because you sleep poorly at night, the nap is treating a symptom while leaving the underlying problem unaddressed. Speak to your doctor about the root cause of your nighttime sleep problems, because addressing that root cause protects your brain in a way that no nap can replicate. Here is your complete brain protective napping protocol, based on the current evidence. 1. If you nap, keep it to 20 to 30 minutes. Set an alarm every time without exception. 2. Nap between 1 p.m. and 3 p.m. only. Never later than 3 p.m. 3. If you feel you need to nap every day, or your naps are regularly running longer than 30 minutes despite your intentions, speak to your doctor. Ask specifically about sleep quality, sleep apnea, and any medications that may be disrupting your nighttime sleep architecture. 4. Monitor your napping patterns over time. If you notice you are napping more frequently or for longer than you used to, note it, track it, and mention it at your next doctor's appointment. This is the kind of early observable change that may matter. 5. Protect your nighttime sleep above everything else. No screens for 1 hour before bed. Same sleep and wake time every day. Cool, dark bedroom. No caffeine after 2 p.m. And no alcohol within 3 hours of sleep. Alcohol fragments your sleep cycles and dramatically reduces the deep lymphatic clearance your brain depends on. As you get older, your brain becomes one of your most valuable assets. And the research from Harvard, UCSF, and Johns Hopkins is now telling us something both alarming and empowering about napping. Alarming because napping that is excessive, longer than 30 minutes, more than once a day, or increasing over time may be signaling something important about what is happening in your brain. And because it can disrupt the nighttime sleep your brain desperately needs to clean itself. Empowering because now you know the rules. 20 to 30 minutes. Before 3 p.m., once a day at most. And watch for changes. The difference between a nap that refreshes your brain and one that may be harming it is not complicated. Check the description for the products I personally recommend to support your sleep quality and brain health. And if this video helped you, please like, subscribe, and share it with others who naps every day without thinking twice about it.